An enemy? Alright, the Whiteheads. Hey Sid, Eileen, have you heard of Zhevitz? I'm gonna get that Zhevitz, right. That's the company of that idiot who tried to control lightning, right? Of course I have. I have too, and none of it's any good. The filter they're using, that's the one Sid designed. Couldn't we do something about them? Who cares? Honestly, I don't even know what they're trying to do with those old relics of filters. That clearly means he's painting a target on your back. He must be bitter that you ruined his plans for electricity. That bastard can do whatever the hell he wants to. He failed to make electricity succeeded, he got a grudge against us, and now he's sticking his neck into the mana industry. And to top it all off, he uses the product that his rival designed to start his own company. He sure has guts, I'll give him that. I promise you we were equals from here on. Don't be stupid, I wouldn't do anything like that, he's got no vision. Touché, but you have a point. What does he hope to accomplish by using those filters? It's a losing strategy when going up against us. Well, who knows? We're up against someone who's trying to use his enemy's ideas against him and live. You'd be surprised how tough a nut job like that is going to take down. What's wrong, Eileen? You're looking pretty pale. I have a bad feeling about all this. How come? It's just everything has been going so smoothly for all of us. Something's gotta happen sooner or later. You know, you talk about karma, we ain't done a single awful thing to anyone. Why do you think we need to pay back all the happiness we've been experiencing so far? I suppose so. Oh boy. Oh, that's not a good line, is it? A few years later, Rune was born. With almost inexplicable timing, Zhevitz experienced an explosion of growth. Despite being of no competition in terms of both experience of mana and the underlying technologies, they managed to one-up us in terms of business acumen. Their expansion was absolutely unprecedented. No one was able to apprehend Zhevitz could gain enough power to compete with Zhevitz in just a few short years. Boy, these names are gonna confuse the hell out of me. Mana is likely to become a highly dangerous substance to us residents of the Outer Pole, just as it had been to Sid when his left arm was affected. Speaking of which, is his left arm still not working? Is it still good? Is it all gone? Make one mistake and you could lose your life. Sid knew that well. Because enough investors for the companies were secured, Sid was able to prioritize development of medical treatments when Zhevitz's enterprise was first established. Eileen spearheaded the charge, having Zhevitz assemble every skilled doctor around and founded Zhevitz's Media. People had to undergo proper training to handle mana as part of their work in Zhevitz. Zhevitz dedicated its resources to educating and training its employees. Well, that seems like a bad company there. However, it takes time to develop competent mana miners and sediment handlers. Regardless, developing skilled, educated personnel and providing a safe work environment were a top priority. On the other hand, Zhevitz's strategy was to completely ignore all such safety protocols and exploit the poor economic situation. Zhevitz's strategy, Process 1. It's a drug extracted from mana, creating humans who would continue to work without sleep or rest, and who could produce antibodies that could combat mana. Furthermore, the subjects of the drugs were promised lifetime employment. Immunity to low-level mana shock and superhuman strength, Zhevitz poured its efforts into marketing itself as an entity that could grant those kinds of abilities, serving to excite its subjects all the more. I'd be really concerned if a company actually did that. The masses ate up Zhevitz's hyperboiled-filled slogans. It was a devious strategy that resonated with everyone at a time when employment was at an all-time low. Hey, that was just too much. Yeah. The after effects on subjects, I can't believe they're that horrible. Completely losing it because of insomnia, turning into nothing but skin and bones, bodies rotting away due to partial mana shock. The abbey was filled with such victims of Zhevitz operations. Some patients even had to be carried off to a church in the neighbouring town. I know. And Sid, we have another problem. I brought Eileen and the Media chief over to the Freyas to propose the construction of a general hospital under Zhevitz, but they gave you the stink eye? Yes, or rather we were assaulted with some rather unbecoming speech. It's because of the people like us that were the god of mana. No, wait, let's start again. It was because of people like us that the god of mana was angered, causing these victims in the first place. That was his divine retribution for being blinded by our greed and desire for convenience. Damn. I can't exactly tell whether or not the priest was right, but this isn't the time for that. I believe we need to pursue the Media project even more now. Why doesn't the government just outlaw the human testing of Process 1? That would solve the problem altogether. I'm sure that if the Board of Science would do something, then the government would. I doubt that. Why? People are dying here. The technology to create Process 1 from mana was developed on the outer pole. Only those who've been trained to make it. They're blah blah blah. See, it wouldn't be a video if I didn't do that. Only those who have been trained can make it, and of course, you need to use machinery that's only available on the outer pole. So, here's my take on the whole situation. The government, the Board of Science and Zhevitz are all in cahoots, secretly exporting Process 1. What? Why would they do that? First possible use for it that comes to mind is the same thing that Zhevitz does for their workers. Drugs to dope up crafters. Performance enhancing for armies, or maybe they found a way to weaponize the stuff. Well, this is still a pretty new substance, depending on where the research goes. They could find all sorts of uses for it. No. Well, it's not like I have any proof or anything, it's just a guess. Sid, the worse your prediction gets, the more likely they are to become true. Anyway, putting that aside, let's get back on track. Like Albus said, I don't plan to give up on getting that hospital set up. But Sid, a majority of those patients would rather seek salvation from the church than medical attention from a hospital. I'm sure they just get into an overcrowded abbey than a newly built hospital, and if that isn't possible, they just resign themselves to death. Do people hate us that much? It can't be. We didn't do anything for people to hate us that much, right? I suppose to the average layman, there isn't much difference between Zhevitz and us. In any case, I don't see any real point in constructing a hospital with the way things are going now. Now, what do we do then? Well, Sid, I have a plan. What you said about the government and Zhevitz earlier got me thinking. Why don't we just make the church allies with Zhevitz? Huh? That's not actually too bad. Financial backing is a given. We renovate their facilities, get new equipment, maybe even build a new abbey altogether. Then we name the hospital after the church, put it under their management. But in exchange, the actual hospital operations will remain under Zhevitz Media. What about that? What? As they say, what?
Rughzenhaide et non gubernat.
They were raid but not covered. Wait a minute here. This entire thing's gotten so huge I don't even know where to begin. Besides, they clearly hate us. What makes you think they even want to work with us? I have a good idea. An idea. I hear that quite a number of sisters passed away the other day due to a contagious form of mana shock. There were some who put their life on the line trying to subdue the patients growing violent and unstable. With love as their only weapon, they tried to quell some of the men who were many times stronger than they were, muscles swollen from the doping effects. Anyway, they did absolutely everything in their power to provide their utmost care for the patients. We should dedicate our next project on absolute obedience automata to the sisters. Rather than models specifically created for the mana minds, we should focus on creating humanoid models to help support the sisters. That way they can protect the sisters from any contagion forms of mana shock or any patients who get too violent. So that's why it was named the Sisters Project. Eileen, that's quite an ambitious plan, but it might actually work out. I'll pass the proposal to our mechanical engineering partners about this. There's just some sort of poetic justice to all this. For people who make a living of science, probably the least pathetic thing to do is to be saved by religion. I don't know what that word is. Like, we have to pay attention to the little details like that. We have to focus on caring for the patients and minimizing the victims. A few days later, we headed to the church. Father, we are indebted for allowing an audience today. But of course, anything for the famous president of the Whitehead's enterprise, whom the church so despises. Wow, getting that up front there, aren't you? That passive aggressiveness. Now, what is it? Mr. Sid Whitehead, what is it that you and your organization need of us? My wife told me about your circumstances here the other day. I heard that many of the sisters here had become victims of the subjects they were trying to save. That is the unfortunate truth. This state of affairs was brought about by the competition between you and Whiteheads. I play with mana. You treat the blessings of God like mere toys. Do you understand that that is blasphemy? Do you have anything to say, as a fool who chose to ignore their faith and blindly pursue science until its bitter end? I have no words to offer in my defense, but we at Whiteheads have no intention of just giving up. Even if Whiteheads Enterprise were to abandon this mana race and let Whiteheads wins, that won't put a stop to the victims. I can confidently say that we are on the good side here, and we conduct our business with the highest morale and ethical standards. To me, the nature of your business and Whiteheads is the one of the same. I'm well aware of that. However, I want you to understand that we will not back down against Whiteheads. We have our own beliefs to adhere to. Why do you continue to rebel against God like this? It is God's will that we must simply accept so we can carry out His divine plan. Is it that difficult to simply accept what has been given to you and live a life within your means? Well, he has been living the life within his means, I guess. Science is nothing but the height of folly. It is proof that you are ungrateful of the blessings and the life that you have received. That might be the case for you. But let me tell you this, Father. As long as we humans have this one thing called curiosity, the march of science will never stop. We just had to find out about the hidden possibilities of mana. No, it's not just about mana. You tell a human being to live in this world, without trying to satisfy their curiosity, that's just plain impossible. And curiosity is another one of those gifts that your God gave to humans, isn't it? Haha. No, blasphemy. Just blasphemy. Did you want to meet with me face to face simply to lecture me on the God and human nature? No, we came here because we'd like to pitch something. Pitch? What could this be now? We are currently developing machines to assist with work in the mines. They'll be powered by mana, be able to understand what we have to do, and carry out those commands. What in the... However, we decided to stop work on that. Instead, we decided to devote our time to creating machines to provide support to the sisters of the church. And why exactly would you do that? Oh, nope. Partner, do you want to work with us at Zhevitz? Well, that's... I beg your pardon? Right now, even if we build a general hospital in town, there will be far more people who would seek help in the church. But Father, that just isn't going to work out. Sorry to say, but what you're doing isn't going to save a single life. The only way to save people who are dying from mana is with mana itself. We have a completely different values, but I'm sure that we share the same fundamental desire to save as many people as we possibly can. Please, let us work with you. I'm sure patients wouldn't have any problems if you have them go to a hospital that has your blessing. I see. And there, we are going to have our machines take the place of the sisters instead. We have already partnered with an engineering company to make sure that they look perfectly human. They'll just have as much humanity as we do. If you let the machines deal with any dangerous patients, then I'm sure you can prevent any sisters from losing their lives. This Sisters project is our way of showing our sincerity in the proposition. Please, won't you consider? I see how it is. Truly a suggestion that would only have been put forth by someone so enraptured by worldly desires such as yourself. A suggestion that completely and utterly ignores the demands of our church. Well, no, that's enough. This is no longer something that we can discuss. However, you wish to save as many as you can, correct? Your sentiment reeks of arrogance and has a lack of concern for the souls of the deceased, but very well. I understand your reasoning. We're very grateful for. However, we cannot accept those machines of yours. Why not? Don't you want to prevent any more of the Abbey sisters from becoming victims? Of course I want to put a stop to the victims, and wish to save as many people as we can. However, those patients have all come here seeking salvation from God, otherwise suppose you atheist heathens won't understand. No matter how well they can mimic human behaviour, like how a hymn sung without heart won't heal. Prayers from something without a soul will not save anyone. We're at a stalemate here. Was Sid just silenced by a member of the clergy? Still, for such non-believers to save lives in the name of the church, your convictions have come through. I will need some time. And we're back, okay.